Hey there, it's Dr. Mike T. Nelson back again with the Flex the Diet podcast. All ways to increase your performance, health, and body composition by using a flexible approach. Today, I've got a great podcast with my buddy Anders Varner from Barbell Shrugged, and he is on my show this time. I've been on Barbell Shrugged a few times, which is always a great time. You can go back and find those episodes. Super fun. Love hanging out with those guys. It's a little weird that we haven't been able to see them in person. Man, it's been almost a year. Last time I got to hang out with them was in Tahoe at the Spartan event almost over a year ago now. So, but today on the show, just myself and Anders, and he's got a huge announcement that Barbell Shrugged will be having a program in Walmart, of all places. So we go into details on that, how that got started, how it happened, which is a very cool story, and what the program is about, and how you can pick it up for pretty cheap money. And if it's not something that you're interested in, you're all squared away with your program, it's probably going to be a great thing for friends and family who you don't really know where to send them for a decent program. So check it out. Talk with Anders Varner from Barbell Shrugged. Of course, this is brought to you by the Flex Diet certification. So go to flexdiet.com. FLEXDIET.com, and there you'll be able to get on the wait list the next time that it opens up, and that'll put you on the daily newsletter list with all sorts of super cool tips for free right into your email box. Go to flexdiet.com. Here's the discussion with Anders Varner from Barbell Shrugged.
Dude, things are cool. I don't know. We got a bunch of just cool stuff at Shrugged happening. But the big thing with just Walmart happening right now is just wild.
Yeah, so tell us, tell the podcast listeners and viewers what's going on with that.
Yeah, so I guess it started back in February. Like our last Barbell Shrug trip that we took was down to Bentonville, Arkansas.
Oh,
It's
wow.
actually when Wadapalooza was, yeah, if like quarantine was going to hit for a reason, and like put all travel and many things about business kind of like on hold because we've always done our shows on the road.
Yeah.
And we're gone 5 to 10 days a month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're gone a third of the time,
Oh, yeah.
it's a ton.
Yes.
You're basically just preparing for your next trip
Mm-hmm.
while you're home,
Yeah, I've
trying
done
to get
that.
as healthy as possible, and then you're like back on the road. Um, so it's been really nice to be home. But in that time, yeah, our last trip was down to Bentonville, Arkansas, the weekend of Wadapalooza, which is like the fitness party of all fitness parties,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're in the CrossFit space. And
Definitely.
it's like way cooler than the CrossFit Games. Not that we don't like going to the CrossFit Games, but
From what I've heard,
Miami,
it's just more fun, for
February,
lack of a better word, and just
yeah,
more other things going on. I'll leave it at
the
that.
the whole world shows up to Miami. They've been frozen for 4 months, and it's like summer comes early to the whole fitness world. So it's just a lot of fun. But yeah, we got invited. I think many people know, but I trained with John Cena for 4 years when I owned my gym in San Diego, and I don't really talk to him that much anymore outside of like the random text message. And being a part of um, his kind of trusted network of people, when a fitness opportunity presents itself and something that he's associated with, I typically get the phone call, which is a great phone call to get.
Yeah.
Um, and he became a big piece of what is called the FitOps Foundation, just helps military vets with PTSD transition, and in that transition from military to civilian. And all of these vets want to get into the fitness industry and have relatively little idea of like what it takes to survive or even get started, and how to find a client and get certified. So they provide a certification for them. It's a 12-week long thing, 3 weeks in person, which is really cool. It's actually probably like the longest actual fitness certification that exists, which is really cool that there's a 12-month process to going through the
Yeah,
program.
that's awesome.
And Doug and I went down there, did a bunch of shows, met a bunch of incredible people, dealing with an insane, I'm not very much of a military person, so I don't really understand a lot of the PTSD, for lack of a better word, just like disease, disorder. I don't understand
Pathology.
when people's brains say negative things to them over and over and over again. I don't fully understand all that. And then 7 interviews later, I got a very rude awakening of what that feels like.
Oof.
I spent a lot of time in tears, just empathizing and understanding what these people go through. So by the time my talk came up, we were 7 shows deep, which is about 9 hours of just insane conversation about what these people are going through as they transition out, and the resources they do or do not have. And it became like my normal fitness trainer talk, from like what I would tell the CrossFit coach or the Equinox trainer or whoever it is. Like the messaging stayed the same, but much of it turned into like, hey guys, this thing's not easy. Like, just because you have this certification, like we're just getting started, and it's going to be very hard, and it's busy, it's noisy, it's very hard to find a place where you fit in. And the only thing that's really going to happen is like, you got to create this superhero about yourself and try to get really good at it. And it was a very emotional talk, just because you're kind of talking to these people that are already not operating optimally in their brain. And then in a way, to be honest with them, you have to tell them that it's only going to get harder. Instead of it being like a rah, I'm already a trainer and I need to be inspired. It was like, no, like create the superhero right now, because you have to become indestructible and you're already operating at a deficit, and it's time to get hardened up and go back into the battle, because you've got a long road. And not that I'm like the most successful entrepreneurial fitness person in the world, but a decade of it, you take your lumps, and it's wild. And you got to figure out your place. And in the crowd for this talk, just happened to be our merchandising director of all the supplements and performance nutrition for Walmart.
Oh, wow.
And I had no idea who he was, what he did, any of that. He was just somebody in the crowd. And like all good meatheads do, we have to go lift weights after the talk. So we did like a Q&A, and you got to go max out deadlift, clean, snatches, and talking to him. And he just happened to be somebody that can snatch 100 kilos, which is very impressive that somebody at Walmart can snatch 100 kilos. I just didn't know that. And I didn't even know that he worked at Walmart. He just was an athlete and happened to love Barbell Shrugged and had been listening to us for 8 years, and done our programs, and just was kind of like a student of Shrugged. And as we finished maxing out for way too long, hanging out, I kind of just trying not to be rude almost. I was like, dude, what do you do here? Like, we're in the middle of the woods at this camp for military vets. Like, you have to have a real life. You live here. Like, what is there to do? And he goes, well, I'm the performance nutrition merchandising director. Basically, I buy all the supplements around the world and put them on the shelves. And I was like, oh, well, Why don't you have training programs next to the protein? You're handing people the thing that works a little, but you don't sell them the thing that works a lot. It doesn't make any sense. There's no cohesion. You need the training program for the supplement. And he was like, well, you should totally figure it out. Tell me what it looks like. And I was like, oh man, now we got like a real problem. Now I have a real problem to solve. So we spent all of quarantine, the last 8 months. You know, I'd say the programming part's the easy part, mainly because I'm the one that doesn't write the programming. Doug writes the programming, and that's tricky in itself. Trying to kind of meet an audience that we don't normally speak to,
right?
And meet them where they're at. But you know, everything from learning the Walmart system, which is designed for Coca-Cola and Walmart to talk to each other and make sure supply chains and barcodes and the thousands and thousands of products, maybe even millions of products that are going in and out of 5,500 stores on a daily basis at Walmart, that there's tracking and all this stuff. And then there's like little Barbell Shrugged, trying to make an impact. So we had to go and figure out that system and displays and how we were going to distribute it. And in 2 weeks on November 6th, we hit the shelves in 12 stores in SoCal, LA, San Diego, one store in Vegas, one in Orange County, and Palm Springs.
Nice.
And we're sitting right next to the proteins, fat loss, endurance, and muscle gain.
Oh, so you have 3 programs, correct?
The 3 biggest goals, and we're distributing it through an ebook system. So when people, they basically take what would, in essence, be a gift card, check out, it prints a serial code for them, and our ability to distribute these through like an ebook format allows us to push the price point insanely low. So they're $9.48 for 6 weeks of programming. And it's going to be really cool. We're near the pharmacy. I actually led a meeting yesterday with 14 pharmacists out here in North Carolina that we're trying to get the programs into as like the next test region. And it's crazy. It's very awesome. Interesting because we have this normal population that we speak to, in which it's like a bunch of people trying to increase their deadlift or their back squat. And now we're kind of like, it's not shifting the focus of Shrug, but recognizing that we can use the platform to do a lot of good. And when I talk to the pharmacists, like, there's like big problems that Walmart just doesn't solve right now. You'd think that they've solved all the problems, but when a pharmacist is handing out type 2 diabetes and the doctors are saying, take this medicine, and they're saying you need to, do some sort of fitness program and start eating better and take this medicine, there's only 1/3 of that equation that's being met in the pharmacy or in the performance nutrition section, because nobody's ever put like a real training program on the shelves at Walmart. So we're not only breaking ground for us in going into retail, which is really, really crazy, but Walmart doesn't really know what to do with us. We're kind of like paving our own way. Like the fact that we're using digital ebooks, we're going to be in the performance nutrition section, but we're a fitness company. It's really cool, and we're figuring a lot of things out along the way. And I like being on our own little island inside this gigantic distribution center that's going to allow us to be in front of hopefully a lot of people and getting people moving.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the nice part about an ebook format too, is you've realized, is if you have a way of capturing their emails, which I'm sure you will, then you also have a way of updating it also, right? So you can even iterate it based on feedback, right? So you're probably going to be relatively close to where that population is, but you could update the next version and send everyone and be like, hey, thank you so much for buying version 1. We've made blah, 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 blah tweaks over the past, couple months. Here's version 2.0 for free, and then that just gets flipped to that's the new version that everybody gets too. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's taking, I feel like ebooks in our space have really taken off. Just one, you can get so much information and it keeps the cost down. Like you look at how much, I mean, I was talking to Ashley Van Houten, whose book is
mm-hmm.
coming out,
Yeah.
which I'm so stoked for her. It's such an
Yes.
awesome idea. She's like also on an island by herself, writing very like teaching you how to cook
Yeah.
organs
Eat
and
all of the cow. What?
yeah. And nobody's doing it, and that's where all the magic happens when you're literally by yourself out there. And it's you know it's very cool that she was able to do that, but at the same time you look at like what goes into putting out a full book like that
Especially a
is
physical book. I talked to her about just some of the photo
insane.
shoots and all the stuff that people just don't think about, from the layout to oops, this changed, to the number to register it, to
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of monkey motion.
So we, like you said, we can adapt, and we can not just have this 1 6 week thing as a standalone product, which it will be, that people can always go back. I mean, some sort of percentage work is always a percentage of what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even like the conditioning program that we put together, it's like some people that are shopping in Walmart need to walk more and understand how to apply some sort of progressive overload to walking further and walking faster to get there. And if we can get them running in 6 weeks, that's incredible. Or we can get them walking an X amount of like distance. That's incredible. It's a really interesting opportunity because like I'm not Mr. Save the World. Like I don't like, you hear the obesity numbers and you hear diabetes numbers and you hear all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, like I don't know what to do about that. But then all of a sudden, like this weird opportunity gets presented to you, and it's like, if I never thought I would be pitching anything to Walmart, but I assumed that if I was, it would be like in a really stale room with a lot of stale people and a lot of stale like fluorescent lights, and then I'd be trying to convince people that don't do fitness how important fitness is. And what it really turned out to be was like me snatching and doing cleans with the most important person in in fitness that no one knows about.
Yeah.
The guy that controls all of the traffic. So it's really cool. I think that we were going to be able to like really do some cool work. And do I think we're going to like drop the obesity number from 42% to like 15%? Might be a bit of a stretch, but I think that we can work with people and bring a lot of awareness. And one thing that is really cool about our show, your show, just the ability to talk to people that are really, really smart. We interviewed John Berardi a couple months back.
Yeah, I love
And
that one. That was great. I love John.
well, and the point that I took away above all of the amazing things he said was like, I asked him something along the lines of like, what do you do when nothing works and you have a client that keeps paying you but never sees results? And he goes, well, what do you do if you're still the most positive person in their life and everyone else is negative? You're doing your job by being there for them and still being the only positive person, because if they just stay exactly where they're at, the alternative to you being another negative person or leaving their lives could be that they add another 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So you are doing the most you can by just being an option and being like a positive role model and a positive person in the face of what looks like overwhelming impossibilities for them to get healthier. Being static could be the healthiest option, which I had really never thought about. And I think there's like, obviously we want to help all these people. But there's no option right now. And now there is. And I think that just having the option makes a massive difference in a lot of people's lives. And just having a way forward, even if it just sits in their email for a couple weeks or months or whatever it is, one day they might open it and say, hey, it's time to read this. And it's $9.48. There isn't a single person in this world that can't afford that for 60 days or 30 days of workouts, 6 weeks of training.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember being back when I worked more with general population clients, even online. I had a couple of clients where I was just like, oh my God, they're not getting better. They would like ghost me for 2 weeks at a time. And, in the past I had fired clients basically who did that. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Same thing what John was saying. I'm like, well, they haven't gained any weight. They're not complaining. They're not upset at me. I didn't do anything wrong per se. It's just that it takes some people time to change. And I'm like, at that time, I wasn't even auto billing them. They had to physically like pay me, like every couple months. I'm like, they're still paying. So there's some level in their brain that's still committed to the process, or they wouldn't just keep handing me money, so you just kind of do the best you can with that and realize that if you completely bail, it's like, oh geez, where are they left now? You're like, oh man, I can't even pay someone to help me. This guy bailed on me.
There's some real kind of opportunities there in that, like, it's when you're working with performance athletes, or even if it's just gen pop, but people that have access to bumper plates and real weights, and they go to a gym and they have all of these options, and most importantly, the environment that surrounds them is, for the most part, like overwhelmingly positive and filled with people doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Eating relatively well, training relatively intelligently and frequently. Could some of them get better? Sure. Could it be more optimized? Sure. But for the most part, they're around a healthy environment. And when you start to look at somebody that may have, that may be pre-diabetic, and that person has this vulnerable side to them where they want to get better. So we have to make it easy and find a way to get them the thing that they need. And they may just buy it and not tell anybody because it's embarrassing and it's hard to ask for help.
Or where to even ask for help.
Yeah. If we can put it in front of their face and make it super easily accessible, that's really the goal. And for us to be able to get the price point to where it is, which obviously Walmart is known for its price sensitivity. We could do a full conversation on how hard it was to get our price point to that number, and the many things that I had to learn along the way. But it's like spending multiple hours in store watching people shop for protein, and seeing how price sensitive things are. I originally wanted to put it on the shelves for like $19, thinking that was a phenomenal deal. It's like 60% off what a normal ebook program would cost. And then I realized I would be like the second most expensive thing on the shelves, next to like the 3-pound tub of protein, where they're like walking out with this like 3-pound thing and then this card.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't totally add up. But yeah, I think that getting in shape is a very vulnerable subject for a lot of people, and it's hard to ask for help. Like you said, where do they ask for help? The majority of them probably get most of their fitness knowledge in 2,200 characters on Instagram, which is slightly terrifying.
Yeah. Well, add to it that everyone is a fitness expert. I mean, right, better than anyone else, like how many people you would say of questionable background who don't know what you do have given you insane fitness advice, right? Because it's my running joke is like everybody eats, everyone moves, everyone spends money. So everybody thinks that they're an expert in like all three of those areas.
Yeah. How about when I hit the Instagram Explorer bar
Oh
and
God.
it's only people with abs or female butt shots or ab shots and whatever it is. And then you're like, I feel like I know everyone in fitness. Like, I know most of the like exercise scientists, or I'm
Hmm.
1 degree separated and I've like
Yeah,
kind
you
of
could
heard
find
of
them.
them. I know enough people that could connect me to them. I'm interested in their work. And then you're like, I wonder what this person, oh my God, they have 300,000 people
Yeah.
following them. Oh my gosh, how? Like,
Yeah.
they're not in any labs testing anything. How how did that happen? Um, that stuff really, really gets me. But that's kind of like why it's so important that we get to do this, that um, we get to be in front of that many people and that much traffic coming through the store, and being an option and accessible and hopefully a very easy purchase, so that when people, if not on the purchase date, that are ready to take action, at least at some point along the way, um, when they are ready to take action, when they're ready to kind of face that 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 day of reckoning, that they have a resource that they can go to and learn about nutrition and have a training program to follow.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super exciting. If people want to learn more about it, or can they request it to like their local Walmart or anything? Or is this going to be expanded after kind of a test run? Or
Yeah,
what can people listening do?
I mean, I'm telling everyone to go buy not one or two of them, but at least three, because they're so cheap. Um, yeah,
Could you
all of
gift them?
our absolutely. We're going to be on Walmart.com. I don't have an exact date for Walmart.com. Hopefully, right around the 6th of November, which is when we launch in stores. So um, it's going to be multiple stores in like Chula Vista and San Diego, National City, Orange County, and then some stores in LA, a lot of them in Palm Springs, and then one in Vegas. So it's a super small select group of stores in a very fitness focused area in San Diego, Vegas, Palm Springs, like very healthy places. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're in those areas, go to your Walmart, go to the pharmacy, go to where they sell proteins and buy 3 of them. If you're listening to these shows, there's a good chance, and this is what all of the barbell shrugged messaging that is going out. Like, I'm not asking people to buy one. I want them to buy 3, because they're still going to be saving more money
Yeah,
by
it's still
buying
30
3.
bucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they save $20 on what a normal thing, but on a normal program for us. So put them in people's stockings, give them to all of your Thanksgiving dinner people.
Put it under the little plate. So at the end of dinner,
Exactly.
they flip their plate over and see what
Yeah.
they want.
This is how we calculate the number of macros you just ate in 20 minutes. Um, but if you're in those areas, get into the stores. They're in the performance nutrition section, and which is in the pharmacy. And then we will be on Walmart.com as well, which is very exciting, because we get to be nationwide for the most part. And if you were to go in to Walmart.com and just type in fitness programs, there is some terrifying stuff in there. Like, absolutely terrifying stuff, but it's also great. There's, yeah, if you're, as long as your audience isn't offended, there's a penis enlargement fitness program that we'll be competing with in the Walmart.com store.
Hmm.
Written by Richard Handman. I could not believe that is a fact.
It's not a real name, is it?
I can't be real, but it is the author of the penis enlargement 14-day fitness program. Um,
I don't even want to know anymore.
I'm giving this guy, as soon as I found it, I was like, this guy's
Look at
going
all
to
the
be a
free press he's
bestseller.
getting.
I know. I could not. I
His
had
sales
to
are going to spike.
screenshot it. And it was like, what I should have done when I screenshot and put in like Instagram stories is like put the link directly to it, just to see how many people
Your
actually
affiliate link.
swipe up. How many people? It's like, Oh, that's stupid. Well, why do I have 99
Yeah.
swipe ups on this one post? Like, someone's got to be buying the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be on Walmart.com in early November, which is really cool, and then in stores for sure on November 6th in those select cities, which is very cool.
Cool. Well, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming on here to let everybody know because, I mean, even this audience may be interested in that. And even if they're not, I can absolutely guarantee they've got friends, family members, other people where they just don't know where to send them or what to do. It's like, hey, go to walmart.com and for less than $10 you can get one program. You can get all three for under $30. That's totally fair, and it's legit, and it's not a program written by Mr. Hanman.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
And dude, we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you so much to Anders for coming on and sharing the awesome news. Make sure to check out the programs from Barbell Shrugged. Going to be available in Walmart early November in locations he mentioned. Hopefully they'll be able to expand out from there, and they will also be available on Walmart online. Pick them up, check them out. I don't have any disclosures. I don't make any money if you do or if you don't, but I think for the cost, it's going to be a great program for you or possibly one of your friends or loved ones to get them started on their fitness journey, having a program designed by a professional. So thank you so much, Anders, for coming on. If you're interested in more information on recovery and nutrition, check out the Flex Diet certification. Go to flexdiet.com, FLEXDIET.com, and you'll be able to get on the wait list for the next time that it opens. And I'll have lots of great information on the newsletter there for you. In the meantime, vast majority of my content now goes out to the newsletter, is the main place to get it. So go to flexdiet.com. Thank you so much to Anders. Check out their program at walmart.com. Thank you all so much for listening. I greatly appreciate it. We'll be back again soon. Take care.